The case we worked on was Linde versus Arab Bank. This is the very first time that a financial institution has ever been held financially responsible for funding terrorist activities. There were 597 Americans. They were the family members of people killed or injured in suicide bombing attacks or other acts of violence. Our clients were devastated by these attacks, both those who were injured and the family members of people that were killed. They were the most gruesome attacks you could ever imagine. Terrorist groups, in order to sort of ingratiate themselves within the communities in which they live, they provide charitable services, they provide schools, but at the same time they provide weapons. And in order to do all those things and keep all people happy, they need lots and lots of money. There's no way that you could move this amount of money in cash from one place to another. You need to be able to wire that money. So a financial institution is crucial to the success of a terrorist organization. I was surprised at how brazenly the bank engaged in these activities. In some ways, they made it look like regular banking business, just in the formatting of some of these things, and yet the content was so disturbing. From the beginning when the case was filed and throughout, the government of Jordan asked the State Department to intervene in the case and shut the case down. The defendants put the brakes on this litigation every single possible chance they could. Every significant issue that was decided by the magistrate judge was appealed to the district court judge. And the most abusive, abrasive form was that the bank just simply refused to produce to us any of the account records, which we were able to eventually prove to the jury were in fact accounts held for leaders of Hamas and families of suicide bombers. We were able to expose the bank for having provided significant funds to Hamas and financial services to terrorist organizations in the Palestinian territories. There was a whole team of us that were involved in this from the very beginning. We took hundreds of depositions in this case. None of this would have been possible without the hard work of those lawyers and also the teams and teams of support people who sat behind them. And I don't think any of us will ever forget the experiences we've had together doing this. The ability to disrupt the financing of terrorist groups and act as a warning to other financial institutions that you better not do business like this. For our clients, that was the most important thing. This is probably the finest example of how the Anti-Terrorism Act could be used effectively to hold a bank accountable for financing terrorism. And I think people will recognize that these kinds of actions have an important place in the fight against terrorism. But it's only through taking on these difficult fights that we can advance justice and we can provide remedies to people and we can make real positive social change in our communities and maybe our world.